Good morning, folks. Let's talk. Let's talk college. Now that September is coming to a close, I want to talk about how my first month was like because it was kind of interesting. I really, initially, I wanted to make this after the first 2 weeks were up, but then I kept having my weeks cut short, so I was like, you know what, let me wait till I have a full week that I can actually critique. So, um, first week, let's summarize the first week. The first week, actually, let me summarize my classes first, just so it can make sense when I go week by week. So, week one, no, I'm sorry. Down the line, so I have Mondays off, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I have a very action-packed day that starts at 9:55 and ends at 3:25. I have two history classes and an English 101 class. Each class has 10 minutes in between them, so we get a little bit of break here in case we need to walk around campus because it is a pretty big facility. I won't say where I'm going just yet, maybe one of these days, but for now, not so much. Um, Wednesday, they fucked me over. We're going to talk about this in a bit too. I have a 4 o'clock math class, Math 112, which is intermediate algebra. Um, Thursday, same schedule as Tuesday. And then Friday, I have one class again, and that's my Intro to College class, which is mandatory for all first semester freshmen. So let's talk about that schedule first of all. They fucked me over on that because out of nowhere they changed it. Initially, my schedule was the Tuesday and Thursday were the same, but on Monday, I had to take Math 90 from 10:10 to 12:10, and then I would have Intro to College from 12:30 to 1:30, something like that. I forget what the times were, but it was something along those lines. And then I would also have Math 90 on Wednesday at that same time, and then I would have Friday off, and also math. Also on Wednesday, math would be my only class. So what happened was, out of nowhere, they switched my Intro to College to Friday. It turns out that was because I was in the summer program, and I had to be in a group that was with that program because we sort of knew a little more than the rest of the campus. But so that ended up kind of it ended up giving me some good luck in a way, but we're going to talk about that later. So that was my original schedule, Math 90 in the morning on Monday and Wednesday, and on Monday, Intro to College following that, and we're going to break down some of these classes in a bit too. So that's my schedule, and what I hate about Wednesday now is math is late. I don't like afternoon classes. I'm a morning guy. Let me knock the stuff out of the morning and have the rest of the day to myself. But I have to have this math class. Thankfully, it's only once a week from 4 o'clock to 6:45. I'm not a big fan of night classes. I explicitly told my advisor, hey, when we made the schedule, I said, can you try and get me classes as early as possible? And he was able to do that. And I was like, that's perfect. I really like how this schedule looks. And he was like, good, I'm glad you like it. But then it turns out because I was in the summer program, they had to shift me around. And for whatever reason, they said, you know what? Actually, I think you would do good in Math 112, but the problem is we only have one at late. And also, they never told me they were going to change my schedule. They sort of just did. But what else was I going to talk about? Oh, yeah, let's talk about how lucky I was for the first couple weeks. So, let's talk about the experience. So, the first week, I actually only had to go for about 10 minutes the first day because what happened was a bit of a complicated story with the vaccination thing. They were letting unvaccinated people on campus for a little while. Actually, they still are. Um, that's sort of a whole complex story in and of itself. But what happened was, people weren't really going to show up the first week, but they said that you can't show up the first week if you're not vaccinated, or I think it was you can't show up after the first week. At this point, the details aren't entirely clear. But so, the first week there wasn't a lot of people there, and the first week started on Wednesday. Traditionally, school around here, no matter middle school, college, or high school, it always starts on Wednesday. I'm not sure why. So that happened, and so Wednesday, I only had to go for my math class, but the teacher was like, I've had so few people show up that actually, you know, you can just sign your name and just go home. So I was like, okay, great. And then Thursday, that was when Hurricane Ida hit. And all my classes were actually canceled that day because the teachers had to clear floodwaters out of their home. So I sort of had a shortened week because then Friday rolls around and that was my intro to college class day, and that day was also sort of just a sign in. The teacher kind of told us a little, or the professor rather, she kind of told us a little bit of here and there about what the class is going to be about. It's just going to be it's just going to be a waste of my money, of course. And that was the end of the story. We went home. So the second week rolls around, and Monday is Labor Day, and the university announced that all of our Monday classes would be moved to Wednesday because we didn't have a chance to meet our Monday professors initially. So actually, I was very sad about that initially because I was like, oh, really? Labor Day has to be on a Monday, and my day off now has to be on a Monday? Ugh. I have to actually go to school for 4 days anyway. I don't get an extra day off. But when they announced that the Monday classes would be switched to Wednesday, I was like, "Oh my god, that's great!" Because I have to have a late class that day, and I was very happy with that because I now had a 3 day week, um, rather than a 4 day week. So I looked out on that part, and then the third week, I also had a shortened week because the intro to college teacher, or professor rather, I don't think there's really any major distinction, but just out of tradition, I'm going to call them professors. So, that professor actually had to go to a department retreat. Yes, the Intro to College class has a fucking department around it. I'm not sure why, I'm not sure who had that idea, but she had to go to a retreat on that day, so we had a shortened week. We were given some bullshit assignment that was stupidly easy. I went home and did it right away just so I didn't have to care about it anymore. And that was the end of that. So I lucked out. Then the fourth week rolls around, and not so lucky because I actually have to go to math this week. The fourth week was actually my first it was my first full week. It took me 4 whole weeks to be able to get a full week. So I go to math, and it's very boring. I was very hungry. I wanted to go home. I don't like afternoon classes. I wish I could drop this class. I could, but it's a requirement, and I would have to take this next semester anyway, and that would kind of screw everything up. So I'm like, let me just fucking roll with it. I only have to go to it once a week, and besides, I'm going to be on their asses next schedule roll around that, hey, give me morning classes only. Actually, as a matter of fact, I can make my own schedule for the spring starting now. I might get on that. That would be nice. So, week 5 is currently in session. I'm recording this on Tuesday, and you're seeing this on Wednesday, my math class day, which starts at 4 o'clock sharp and ends at 6:45. Last week, the professor was actually nice because we finished this chapter we were working on out of the fucking textbook. That class is also having virtual issues. All my classes are in person, by the way, but this is just that class is actually having some issues because the textbook is fucking online, and he's having issues getting it because the author project producer, narrator, publisher. I don't know. Pearson. The manufacturer or producer or writer or something of that fucking book is giving us problems. So he's having some trouble getting to it, or at least giving us our copies. Because it's all online, because fuck you, fuck paper, fuck tradition. And yeah. So that is my Algebra 112 class, or Math 112, whatever you want to call it. The biggest thorn in my side for this semester. Next semester, I think next semester is more general studies, and the next year is sort of going to be a transition into my major. We'll have to see. But you know what's nice? Is I get a whole month off for winter. I'm the guy who loves the cold. I'm going to be out all month. All month. All of January, the coldest month of the year. I get all January, nearly all of January. I think like the first 3.5 weeks to myself. And that's going to be really nice. And then, of course, spring break, which everybody knows about spring break. But nobody ever talks about winter break, because who wants to be outside in the cold? Ugh, the cold. It's so boring. There's nothing you can do. And then I'm out here in a sweater when it's 22 degrees out, and everybody's looking at me like I have 25 heads. Yeah, a lot of people are going to be looking at me like I have 35 heads when I go on campus, when it's 10 degrees out and I still have my sweater on. I don't know where this video is going anymore. So, that is my thoughts on college. First month, first 4 weeks-ish, if you want to call it that. I'm going to make a post after the first semester ends in the winter, kind of giving my thoughts about it. And of course, at some point in the future, there will be stories about the semester, part of them with Anine, of course, that I will tell. And I think you folks will get a kick out of it. So, that hasn't happened yet, though, because we're only in week 5. But, so, that's going to wrap up my thoughts on college, the first 5 weeks, the first month. Yeah. So, thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.